Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. If you're not familiar with me, sometimes I forget to do these little mini introductions. I'm Brianna, and I am a mental health transformation coach for teen girls. And I just wanted to pop on here really quick. I always say these are going to be really quick, but I really mean it today. Because I don't have a lot of time, but I do want to talk about something that is important, and it's, the fact that your love alone can't save your daughter. Okay, so what do I mean by that exactly? Well, if you saw my post, I posted last night, I came across, it was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking, and if you haven't watched the videos, I would encourage you to do so. It's not going to make you feel good, but it's also going to put into perspective why this mental health is so important for young people. Not just for young people, for everyone. Mental health is important for everyone, right? But if you haven't seen the post, I posted 4 videos of a mother who lost her daughter to suicide. Her teenage daughter killed herself. And it was such a moving... They were such moving videos, and no mother should ever have to go through something like that, right? And so I think it's important that we talk about what is it going to take. So is all your daughter needs is just that love from you? Because my guess is that you're already giving it to her. And if she's struggling in her life, if she's struggling with her mental health, then the love that she's going to get from you, it's not enough. Because I really need to paint a picture for all of you. There's the love we get from other people, and then there's the love that we give to ourselves. And it's 2 different loves. Okay, they're 2 different things. We can't lump them in the same category and say it's the same thing. It's not. It's not. So your love that you have for your daughter, I'm not saying that that's not important. It's so important, right? It's important that your daughter knows that she is loved, okay? I'm not going to argue with anyone on that. That's important. But what is also important, it's actually more important, is your daughter loving herself, okay? This goes into the relationship that your daughter has with herself. That relationship that she has with herself is the most important relationship that she will ever have in her entire life. So she better start working on it right now, right? Most girls are trying to check themselves out of that relationship. They're like, I don't want to feel this. I don't want to be with myself. I don't know how to be with myself. I just got off of a coaching call with a new girl who is coming into my coaching program, and we were talking about that so many teen girls are lost in the doing of life that they're not actually being, right? There's the doing, and then there's the being. Now, what's the difference between the 2? Well, the doing is ego-based. A lot of it is. Maybe not all of it. But it can be some ego-based. So it's basically looking at it's the achievements, it's the awards, it's the accolades, it's the grades, it's the college I get into, it's all of those things, right? That's the busyness of the doing, right? Every free moment is filled up with doing something, because I gotta be doing something, because I can't sit with myself for 5 minutes and feel what's going on inside of me. So it's easier to do than it is to be. How many of your daughters are there? Raise your hand, not that I can see any of you. But if your daughter is there, let me know. And I'd love to make this a little bit interactive. So I usually come on these Facebook Lives and I don't hear from a lot of you. So if you're watching, whether it's the live or whether it's the replay, let me know that you're here. Give me an emoji, a little hi, something, so it doesn't feel like it's a monologue. I do like to make these interactive, but I need help from you to make it that way. So, and if you're watching the replay, also let me know you're here, right? So going back to, there's the doing. Thank you. Yay, I got an emoji. Is that an emoji or a thumbs up? I don't know what it's called, but it's all the same. Hi, Davia. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. What a pretty name. So there's the doing and there's the being, and adults fall into the same trap, right? Because adults get into the trap of, okay, so like, you know, I've got to be working and I've got to, hey, Alexandra, I've got to be working and I've got to take care of the kids and I got to make dinner and I got to clean the house and I got to do all these things. But like, how many minutes of the day are you actually being? Not doing. How many minutes of the day are you being with yourself? Now, let's bring it back to your daughter. How many minutes of the day is she being with herself, not in the doing? Okay? School doesn't actually teach her how to do any of this. It teaches her to do the opposite. I can't tell you how many coaching sessions I've had very recently, and these girls are so stressed with school and how little time they actually have for themselves because there is so much doing with school. It's not only school, but then it's like after that, it's like studying for the tests and the homework and like everything else that goes into that. And it's creating a life for your daughter that feels very overwhelmed and stressful. And so it's almost like the school helps to create that, but then it doesn't actually give your daughter any of the tools to unstress herself. Is that a word, unstress? I don't know, I'm gonna use it. It doesn't give her any of the tools. It just like jams like more work. I'm gonna give you more work, study more tests, more pressure. We're gonna keep throwing this at you. And then your daughter is like, I can't handle this. So the school's giving her all of this, right? But then it doesn't actually give her any of the things that she really, really needs. Like, is your daughter's school giving her an understanding of how her mind works? Is your daughter's school giving her any work on self-love, loving herself? Is your daughter's school giving her any education around resiliency? How to handle her emotions, how to feel her feelings without getting sucked down in her feelings. She's not learning any of these things, right? So it's like, we've got to take a look at this and ask, you know, you have to ask yourself the bigger questions if you haven't already. You probably already have, but if you haven't already, it's like, okay, so where's my daughter going to get this if she's not getting it from school? So going back, you know, when we're talking about the being versus the doing, okay, let's take it a step further. Let's talk about your daughter, your love for your daughter. You love your daughter. I know that. You all love your daughter, right? Daughters, excuse me. So you loving your daughter is not the same as your daughter loving herself. Two different things. Now, when we talk about mental health and when we talk about well-being and your daughter feeling her very best, she doesn't just step into that person based on whatever love that you're giving to her. Okay? She's got to create this love within herself. Ginny, if she doesn't get it from school and she doesn't want it from me, well, this is why I do this work in the world, Ginny, because I know most girls don't want to hear it from their moms, right? Even if you knew all of this stuff, and some of you maybe already do, your daughter doesn't exactly want to hear it from you. So yeah, it goes, so now you have to ask yourself the question, which Ginny, you just did, is like, okay, so where is she getting this? And this is why I do this work, because the moms who reach out to me, the parents who reach out to me know that they're not getting it from school. They're not going to get it from their friends. They're really not going to get it anywhere else. And quite often they're not getting it in therapy either, right? They're not going to get it in medication, in a pill. They're not going to get this. Self-love doesn't come in medication. Just doesn't, right? So it's like, this is why I do what I do, because I know these girls are not getting it anywhere else. right? And so when we're looking, going back into the doing versus the being, your daughter has to step in a place where she's going to fully accept herself and fully love herself for who she is, mistakes and all, imperfection and all of the scary feelings and all. She's got to come into a place where she is loving herself, okay? And something that, you know, if you watched the 4 videos that I posted last night from the mother who lost her daughter to suicide, right? Her loving her daughter was not enough. And this is by no means, this is not her mother's fault, but I just need you to see like the bigger picture here, because a mother's love for your daughter is not enough to save your daughter from her own torture and her own pain that she creates for herself. Okay? Your love is not going to save her from that. Okay? But what is going to save her from that is her own love. Her own love that she gives herself. Because I guarantee you, there is no girl out there that would ever commit suicide if she actually loved herself. No girl would think about ending her life if she loved herself. This is the thing that is not talked about enough, is that we've got anxiety, we've got depression, we've got self-loathing, we've got self-harm, we've got eating disorders, we've got all this shit that's going on, right? But we don't look at, God, oops, low power mode, sorry. But we don't look at like the bigger picture. Self-love is what your daughter needs to heal herself from all of that. Self-love is what is going to take your daughter out of her old life and into her new life of how she wants to be, who she wants to be, right? Most girls don't even know that, who they want to be. So again, it's the being and it's the doing. And if you want your daughter to be successful with life, not just successful, but fulfilled and love herself and have all of the things and be, feel like she's worthy and feel like she's enough and feel like she's deserving of it all, she's got to take a step into having self-acceptance, but having self-love. You start with self-acceptance and then you get to self-love. Sometimes it doesn't always just automatically jump to self-love. That's a big one. Self-love, believing in herself as well. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Carrie. So yeah, but it starts out with just accepting yourself. Your daughter accepting herself, even with all of her past, even with the trauma, even with the pain, even with all of the things that she has been through. Can she get on the other side and say, you know what? I accept myself. I'm not going to torture myself anymore. Can I choose to love myself through this instead of hating myself for who I'm not? But can I love myself for who I'm stepping into? This journey that your daughter is on, we're all on a journey, okay? We're all on a journey of self-discovery, whether we look at it that way or not. We're all on a journey. Yes, our journeys look very different, but we're all on a journey, right? This is a journey of self-discovery. This is a journey of figuring out who we are. Now, some people take the spiritual road with this journey, and it's the spiritual road that's going to get your daughter all of the answers that she has been seeking for herself. Because when we look at like spiritual, this is mind, body, and soul. They're all connected, okay? And so when your daughter is not feeling well, if she's not feeling her best, if she's dealing with anxiety, if she's dealing with depression, if she's dealing with self-loathing, her body takes that on, and it can develop illness, it can develop, what's the word I'm looking for? Sickness, poor health, all because it comes from her emotions, her thoughts, her feelings. If you want to go deeper in this, go read a Louise Hay book. You can heal your life. Louise Hay was the guru of all of this, okay? And if you're any moms or parents who are watching this, if you want to go deeper in your healing, go check out Louise Hay. Go read that book. You can heal your life. It's gold. It's like, that needs to be one of the standard books. So it is really. I mean, it's a national bestseller. It's an amazing book. But Louise Hay cured herself of cancer, okay, based on her thoughts, her beliefs, her feelings, and doing the healing work, okay? So we're looking at mind, body, and soul. So when we look at therapy and like whether therapy is working for your daughter or not, is your daughter getting that integration of mind, body, and soul in therapy? Carrie says, yes, this is for all women. Yeah, a battle we all go through. Thank you for your encouragement and strength. Oh, Carrie, you're so welcome. Thank you. And thank you for watching this. Yeah, so when we look at therapy and the approach that therapy takes to help your daughter, we've got to look at, well, one, obviously, like, is it working? That's the obvious question. But I think to even go deeper beyond just, is this working or not, is what is my daughter getting out of this? And is this approach really right for her? Because going back to mind, body, and soul, remember, it's all connected. It's all one. But what happens most times in therapy is that they don't focus on the spiritual side of this. So it's all mind. But what about the body? And what about the soul? What about the heart? That's a part of it too. But no, therapy focus on the mind. It's the mind. But what about the trauma? What about the pain? What about all the suppressed emotions? That's not all stored in the mind. That's stored in the body. Okay? So when you want your daughter to be healed, it's not all gonna be healed in the mind, because that's not where all of the stuff is stored. Trauma, pain, wounds from the past, suppressed emotions, that is stored in the body, and so we can't heal that by just staying in the mind, which is what typical therapy does. So this is why I keep talking about having a different approach for your daughter, because the approach of therapy, well, if it's working, great, keep doing that. I'm not going to tell you to change something. If it's working, stick with it. Great. But I'm talking to you if your daughter is in therapy and it's not working, or maybe your daughter isn't in therapy. Maybe she's done it in the past. Maybe she's not even doing therapy, but maybe she's on the medication and it's not working. Then I'm talking to you. Okay? So we have to look at this old approach and whether it's really doing its job to help heal your daughter. So therapy often doesn't really go in, okay? I'm like leaning in this Facebook Live. It doesn't go in deep enough, okay? When I work with girls, we're gonna open up their heart space so I can go in and they can go into their heart too, okay? When the heart is closed, when it's like, oh, we can't go in there. I've been through too much pain. I've been through too much stuff. We can't go in there, okay? Then, but we have to. So through this work, the girls that I work with, they're opening up their heart space so that they can go in, so that they can do the healing work, so that they can go do the transformation work. Because there are two places that your daughter can live. One is in the mind, which is her ego, and the other place is in her heart, her soul, her authentic self, right? This is the place where she wants to live, okay? When you are living from your heart space, things get really good and exciting in your life. There's not so much resistance. miracles unfold, right? But when we live in our egos, when we live in the smallness of who we think we are, based on the limited perception that our mind tells us who we are, suffering. Going back to everything that I was just talking about before. So your love cannot save your daughter from her own suffering. It's nice to think that it can, but I need to tell you the truth, it won't. Because the girls, going back to the heartbreaking videos, you saw that mother's pain if you watched that. We already know that that mother loved her daughter so much. You could feel it in those videos where she was breaking down. So the love was there. So what was missing for her daughter that she just decided to end it all? Okay, so this is why it's so important when we look at the mindset. The mindset is not something like airy-fairy, like, oh yeah, you know what, my daughter can work on her mindset, but if she doesn't, it's not a big deal. Bullshit. Bullshit, it's not a big deal. It's everything, okay? Because your daughter's mind is what is going to tell her on a really horrible day, God forbid, her mind can tell her, or her ego can tell her, that you're not loved, you don't deserve to be here, why don't you just kill yourself? Because this is the stuff that the mind can create, and if your daughter doesn't have an understanding of what is going on with her mind, how to shift her thinking, how to control her mind, where these thoughts are coming from, if she doesn't have a clue on any of that, then guess what happens? And it happened with this mother's daughter who killed herself. This mother's daughter listened to those voices that said, you're no good. You don't deserve to be here. I'll post it. There was another short video that this mom did. Same mom, right? And she was talking about mental health and why it's so important with mindset. Because it's the voice in your daughter's head that is creating her suffering. And for some girls, this is life or death. I'm not trying to, what's the word I'm looking for? I mean, it is life or death for some of these girls. For her daughter, if her daughter had known all of this, it could have been the difference between life and death, life or death for her daughter. And unfortunately, it turned out into death. Because why? Why? Right? Why is this happening? Why does this keep happening? Have you seen the statistics of girls that are killing themselves every single day? Have you seen the statistics of, 10% on my battery. I got to wrap this up. Have you seen the statistics of, I think it's like, what is it? Like is it every 45 seconds or every 60 seconds, like someone kills themselves? I have to look up like how often. It's something crazy like that, right? Again, this is not just teen girls. This is affecting everyone. Boys as well, adults as well, women, men, everyone this is affecting. But I'm talking about teen girls in particular because this is the group of girls that I work with. This is my expertise. This is what I know. Having worked with well over 100 girls and young women. So this is my area of expertise that I know. So sorry, that's Annabelle. So what's going on here, right? Is your daughter living in the doing or is she living in the being? Is she living in the self-love or is she living in the self-hate? Is she living in the self-loathing? Or is she living in the self-acceptance? Is she living in the guilt and the blame and the shame? Or is she living in the forgiveness, self-forgiveness, compassion, kindness? This can be taught. This can be taught. Please hear me. Just because, oh my God, my hair is crazy right now. Just because your daughter doesn't know how to do this doesn't mean she's never going to be able to learn this. She can be taught as long as she wants to get this, as long as she's willing to put in the effort, as long as she has an open mind to all of this. She can be taught. Okay? So I'm getting like amped up with this because you moms, if you've been here for a minute, you know that this is my passion. This is my wheelhouse. This is what I do every single day. I work with girls and young women, so their lives will never get to that point that this mother is dealing with the loss of her daughter. These are not just tools and skills and coping mechanisms. This is not what this is. This work changes the trajectory of your daughter's entire life. It puts her in control of her life. It gets her to be the driver in her own life instead of being in the back seat and just going wherever the driver or the mind is wanting to take her. So I'm going to have to leave you with that because I think my phone is about to die. So if you're just coming on right now, make sure to watch this from the beginning. I had a lot to say, and I hope you were able to receive this in whatever way that you were able to take it in. But it's really so important that, your daughter has to learn to love herself. They don't teach this in school, and she's probably not getting this anywhere else. This is where it needs to go. And it's through her healing work, healing from her past, healing from if there's trauma, healing from the pain, anything that's happened. It's through her healing work that she learns how to love herself. You don't just go and love yourself just because you make a decision. Oh, I'm going to go love myself today. Okay, that doesn't work like that. You don't just go love yourself because you want to. You learn to love yourself by doing the inner work. And a big part of this inner work is doing the healing work. Okay? That is what gets your daughter on the other side so she can actually love herself. Because that, at the end of the day, is what is going to save your daughter from herself. And when I say save your daughter from herself, that's really who she needs to save herself from. It's not the world. It's not life that's out there to get her. Okay? Your daughter needs to learn how to save herself. Save herself from herself. Because all that pain and the suffering is self-inflicted. There's what has happened to her. If she has been through trauma, if she's been through, a lot of things in her life, which most girls have, right? So if she's been through all of that, there's that, but then there's the story around all of that needs to be worked on and healed within her for her to live her very best life. This is the work that I'm doing every single day with girls. So if I'm speaking to you, if this is resonating for you, if you're like, my daughter doesn't love herself, I need this, then reach out to me. You've got to be ultra committed. Your daughter has to want the help, and your daughter has to be willing to put in the effort. I don't work with girls that don't want the help. I don't work with girls that don't want to put in the effort. I'm here for transformation. I'm not here to just make money. That's not what I'm about. Okay? I'm here to help girls have real transformation, but they're the ones that do it. That's why I require that they need to be ready, they need to want the help, and they need to be willing to put in the effort. If that's your daughter, if you're ultra committed, reach out to me, private message me. You know where to find me. I really gotta go right now, so have an amazing day. Let me know if this sparked anything inside of you. Even if you're watching the replay, let me know that you're here. And if you have any comments or questions, I'm happy to answer away. So have an amazing day, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.